And if you were watching our coverage last night, as Savannah alluded to, this spontaneous gathering in Lafayette Park across from the White House, there was another one here at Ground Zero in New York, but that was just the start of the American reaction from coast to coast. Lester Holt with us, part of our coverage, with more on that aspect. Lester?
Brian, think back to last night. How many unknowns were there? First of all, the president says he's going to go on national TV. No one knew what he was going to say. Even later, when we realized it was going to be word about the death of Osama bin Laden, no one knew how the American public would receive that information. And yet, surprisingly, across the country, the reaction was very much the same. It was the refrain echoed from every corner of America. As the news began to spread, crowds descended on the White House and Times Square in New York.
The job is completed. Maybe we can bring our troops home.
From college campuses to the stands at a Philadelphia Phillies game to the streets of Boston, there were unabashed celebrations over the death of a villain.
He was the mastermind of so many terrorist attacks and so many terrible things that happened to U.S. people, so I'm happy he's dead.
His death reminded us of the many faces and names of bin Laden's victims.
They finally got him, and of course it makes me cry again because it brings back memories.
Emotions were especially raw today at what are now hallowed grounds, Shanksville, Pennsylvania.
Gives you a special feeling here just to pay homage to the people we lost that day.
The Pentagon.
Just a good day to be a United States Marine and an American citizen.
And Ground Zero.
Look at the Freedom Tower.
Jack Zilmanowitz and his wife Evelyn came to honor Jack's brother Abe, who was killed in the World Trade Center.
Finally, the purveyor of evil was brought to justice.
Off-duty Boston-based flight attendants who lost colleagues on American Flight 11 tried to find closure here too.
When we heard of the tragedy, it was just a question of who we knew, because that was a flight that was always staffed by Boston flight crews.
And you happen to be on a layover here in New York today.
Just arrived.
And was there any question that you had to come down here?
No, as soon as we heard the news, we all four said we're going to Ground Zero.
Even as a gleaming new tower rises, filling in the once scarred hole of Ground Zero, the outpouring and celebrations over the death of Osama bin Laden remind us the wound to the American psyche is not so easily healed. At a lot of these gatherings, you hear a fair amount of bravado, even around us here on the streets, but also whispered under the breath that fear, Brian, that what may be a major blow against terror could simply open up a new chapter.
Lester, thanks for that.